Bitcoin breaks its wedge pattern, setting at 60,700 as stocks make the strongest rally of the year. And we have stocks such as Space Mobile doing 1,800% in just a matter of weeks. Yes, that's right, weeks, as the stock market uh, puts in its longest win streak of 2024 in this August turnaround. So, are we going to see a top in this stock market? Are we going to see some sort of double top here and roll over? Or is this stock market going to continue to go higher? Plus, we're going to discuss why Bitcoin could reach $80,000 by September, as well as some other stocks, commodities, and crypto. So, you guys are not going to want to miss this one. Be sure to hit that like button if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back. It is Tuesday. We have the Qs sitting at 480 and getting this gap fill that we mentioned here a couple days ago that we thought we might see here for the Qs. So that is pretty good. One thing to keep in mind is we have been making a very quick recovery here over the past couple of weeks. So it is possible that we could potentially see a little pullback here before moving higher. And we still have the gap fill up here around 496. And we know those gaps typically get filled. So it does look like the stock market wants to go higher here. We have Nvidia uh, back up to 130 yesterday, and it is looking very strong for Nvidia. Just really rebounding off that low down here of around $90. So that was quite the return here over the past several days. Um, we do know that the 130 number, or some of these round numbers, is a psychological level that people tend to sell. We have a little bit of resistance here. Nvidia could go higher here in the coming days, but we will have to watch the price action. So what else is going on in the stock market? Well, I want to bring up just a couple things here. First off, we have everything related to AI right now, and AI is on fire, as we all know, and AI goes nuclear. So what does that mean? Well, there's a couple energy stocks related to AI that are expected to make potentially thousands of percent of return over the coming years and decades. And a couple of those are CEG and VST, or the ticker symbols for those companies. I just wanted to bring that up because I was doing, excuse me, guys, a little research over the weekend, and I found a couple of these micro cap stocks that have the potential to do those 10x's or even more. So those are a couple just to take a look at. I might go into those a little bit more on this channel in the future, but for right now, that's just something that I wanted to mention right now. Everything is around this AI narrative, and whenever you look at some other AI narratives, well, you have this crypto miner here, ticker symbol WULF, TeraWulf. So this crypto miner right here in particular has been announcing some good news about what they are working on with AI in conjunction with their crypto mining to make their mining more efficient. And I've mentioned this stock here on this channel a couple weeks ago. I bring up the crypto miners quite a bit because it's one way to get more beta, um, similar to some altcoins. Uh, but if you just have a stockbroker account, and so this stock here, you can see it was recently up to around $6.50, sold off here during the carry trade down to 276, and now is sitting at 458. So that's quite the return. We could just take a little measurement, and so you can see here over the past 12 days, this stock has done 68%. Now, will it continue to go higher? Well, a couple things I wanted to point out is we have this gap fill here of around $5.09. I do suspect that will probably go and get filled at some point, but it'll really depend on the price movement of Bitcoin and the stock market. So that is something to keep in mind. Would I buy it here? No, I don't like to chase these runs, but I did buy down here when we were down around this 618. Technical analysis works well for finding these entries, so that's why I like using TradingView. There is a link down below if you're interested, but I want to discuss why we are seeing some of these stocks rally, and that goes to the fact that the dollar is falling, sitting at 101.52. And so I just wanted to point out here that since we broke this wedge pattern, we suspected the dollar may come down. Didn't think it was going to quite fall this quickly, but this is good for risk on assets. And I do believe that's probably why you are seeing things such as Bitcoin go up right now. I've been mentioning this on this channel about the dollar since we put in this lower high here. We thought we may go back up to that 106.80 590 area, but we didn't quite make it up there. We rejected off this level a couple times. Then we found this pattern. So we think the dollar is going down lower, probably down to around 100 eventually. Could it bounce here? Yes. But it does look like the dollar is falling. It's fallen, I think, over 4% here in just a couple of days, which has sent things such as gold to all-time highs, sitting at 25.25 this morning. So gold has been looking really strong, and that's been good for the gold miners and a lot of the metals, even silver miners have been doing well here. This is SIL, the Silver Miner ETF. And if we just take a measurement on this ETF, we are up 22% here over just the past few days. So that is looking good for the miners. Um, and that is a way to get some higher beta. I do suspect that we will still go back up and retest this area, this take profit zone of around 36 to $39 here. But that may take a little while. There is a possibility we do come back down and retest this area first before moving higher. Another metal, copper. I wanted to bring this up. This is the weekly chart on copper, and it looks like copper has found a base. Copper sold off quite a bit since we topped out, and yeah, it's looking like we are starting to form some sort of base here for copper on the weekly time frame. We have the stochastic RSI at the bottom side and crossing upwards, putting in that golden cross, and now we got that big green candle. So if we can hold this area, I do suspect that copper probably can go higher here on the daily time frame. We have a little inverse head and shoulders indicating we could go higher for copper here in the short term. Um, and copper, known as Dr. Copper, is just a good forward-looking indicator of what's to come in the economy. I know everyone's concerned about whether we are going to go into recession. I do think that we still go into recession, but I think that's at least another 6 to 12 months, if not more, out, probably sometime in 2025. That is the most likely scenario. We know election years tend to be bullish for the markets as the governments continue to spend and help support the economy, but also they want everything looking really good going into these elections. Um, so they tend to keep on spending. If you're interested in buying stocks, commodities, or crypto, you can do so with Robinhood. Right now, Robinhood offers a 1% boost and 8 times the national savings rate. You can begin building and uh, investing in a portfolio with just as little as $1, and you can buy stocks, options, ETFs, and trade commission free. They also offer crypto such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and many more, as well as gold. So if you're interested, there is a link down in the description below. All right, guys, so let's discuss what is going on here with Bitcoin and this wedge pattern here. I pointed this out yesterday on the total 3 market cap, and we see the same thing there. However, this is Bitcoin's price, and we peaked out around $61,300 this morning. And I just wanted to let me add a couple of these things back here on the chart. So I wanted to zoom out here a little bit. We have this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern here playing out for Bitcoin, and the data is not loading here. We'll give that a second to load up. We have this wedge pattern here, which is similar to this pattern right here. So that right now, I believe, is what we are seeing with Bitcoin's price, and it's been weak lately. And really, we are just in that season right now where Bitcoin tends to not do so well as some tech stocks. And really, the stock market in general is weak typically in August into September as everyone goes on vacations and starts back to school. Then that's when we see the, the stock market really potentially take off. So I think that could be coming here later in September. If we go to the Bitcoin chart here, on the daily, we've got all kinds of zones, but we have broke back above that $60,000 level that we thought was so important, or the lower side of this range. It's even actually just down below that to right around 59,000, uh, anywhere between 59,000 and 59,500, I think is the key area to hold. And if we can get back through this $63,500 level, well, then I think it will be on to the races for Bitcoin. Uh, Bitcoin is a risk on asset, so it does tend to lead the markets, and it kind of signaled here pretty quickly that the stock market may be recovering. Excuse me, guys. Um, so I think it's really key that we hold this level. If we do lose this level, well, we still have some support further down below. We do have a couple zones, although I do think those are starting to look less uh, likely at the moment. I think we are going to see Bitcoin potentially continue to rally, or at least uh, move sideways here in the coming days. And what I think probably is most likely to happen, a lot of times what we see is um, whenever we have these runs in the stock market and we start selling off, well, Bitcoin typically then starts to do better. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. We may see this rally here that's been really mainly led by the stocks overall um, for the past couple of weeks. We may see a little weakness, a little pullback here, potentially putting in an inverse head and shoulders for the stock market. And so that may be a real possibility before we continue to move higher. We also have the S&P or the SPY here. We do have this one other gap fill up here. That is a possibility that we do see uh, this get closed before potentially moving lower and forming a real nice inverse head and shoulders pattern here, just like we saw for Bitcoin. Um, on the stock market. So that is something to keep in mind. I think if we do see that stocks may sell off, well, we could get above this area, and if we can reclaim that $67,500 level, then I think we will be going back and retesting those all-time highs. Let me reload this chart here real quick. I am not sure why this is not loading, but there was a couple other things I just wanted to point out here on Bitcoin. Um, so, all right, now we have our chart here. We can see better this big inverse head and shoulders pattern. So there's a couple ways we could take a look at this. A lot of times people say that if you take this leg up and then you bring it up here, well, that can give you the next target. So we do have a couple targets here. First off, I think 80K will be the potential first stop once we break above this level. And then we have some other areas up here around $93,000 that could be hit. I do think that is probably coming this year. Um, I think it is possible we could see a six-figure Bitcoin by the end of the year. So that is just something to keep in mind. So what's going on with the rest of the crypto market? Well, it has been extremely boring overall. No one is talking about crypto, and typically that's the best time to buy. We have had a lot of fear. We have had fear that we have not seen since crypto was at Bitcoin was at its lows back at the end of 2022. So that's kind of saying something about the market. And I've been buying Bitcoin since uh, it was below 30K when it fell down to 20K. I was buying when it fell down to 15.6. I was buying Bitcoin. And those are the times that you want to get in if you want to make the returns. It's all about a longer term perspective. Buy fear and sell greed. So, um, this is the total three, which is everything minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we have broken out of this wedge pattern. So it looks like these altcoins are starting to find a little strength here. We have Solana setting at 143, still making a series of higher lows and higher highs overall. Um, Although we have been coming down here a little bit like we have seen with Bitcoin just ranging sideways here for the past several months. However, I do think you are going to start to see these things take off here very soon. Um, I think there probably is only a few weeks left before we start to see some of these altcoins really start to rally and rip to the upside. There's probably some resistance here around this $200 level. Nevertheless, I think Solana is still going much higher, probably up around 800 to $1,000. I think that's a fairly realistic target for Solana, and you'll have other altcoins such as Avalanche setting at 2186. And I mentioned this here a couple weeks ago when we broke out of this downward sloping trend that we thought that if that did happen, we were going to see Avalanche take off. It moved really quick here back up to our take profit zone, or what is now acting as resistance, um, around that 32 to $38 level. We rejected off that whenever the stock market sold off, but we came back down to this trend line here, and this is on the weekly. And you can just see here that nobody has been interested in this some of these altcoins for several months now. Back since March, we hit that peak there in March, and then in April, everything just started selling off, and the RSIs are at the bottom side, and they are getting ready to put in that golden cross right now here on the weekly. So I do suspect that you are going to see altcoins like this start to take off. As I mentioned before, what we typically kind of have been seeing in the stock market is the stock market leads, and then as it pulls back, Bitcoin leads, and then as it cools off and consolidates, then we start to see these more risk on assets really start to rally. It's the same thing in stocks as it is in crypto in that regards, from what I see. Um, so that's something to keep in mind, and that's really driven more by the macro. We know that we are probably going to see a rate cut coming in September, uh, which should help drive this. And we know that the Treasury is buying back bonds, um, even more so than they anticipating, helping to support the markets. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, and many more, you can do so with iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital allows you to buy, sell, and trade crypto, gold and silver 24/7 with no cost or low cost and no monthly fee in a tax advantage IRA. I Trust Capital has over 5,000 plus 5-star reviews on Google, and they actually have people that you can call and talk to when setting up your account. If you're interested, there is a link down below. I use I Trust Capital, and I really enjoyed the process of setting up and rolling over a portion of my IRA. That's one thing I like about iTrust, is that they allow you to roll over either all or a portion of your 401k or IRA with iTrust, or if you are just looking to set up a retirement plan. I think this is one good way to do that, to gain exposure to the crypto assets as well as gold and silver. So it allows you a little more diversification, and uh, allows you to gain that exposure to the upside during these bull runs. All right, guys. Don't forget to go follow me over on X at Mind of Financier. I am Mind of the Financier on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And also drop a comment down below if you have a stock or something that you want me to take a look at. I'll check that out and just uh, give you my opinion on it. But yeah, Anyway, guys, it is Tuesday. We need to be reminded to keep an eye out. We have federal Powell speaking at the Jackson Hole Symposium on Friday, so that will be something to keep an eye on to see if we have any more indication which way these markets may go. Um, Sometimes we rally into these news events and then sell off. So that's a possibility, something to keep in mind, I would say, with the bullishness of the stock market. If we continue to rally here this week, there is a chance that we may see uh, the stocks then potentially sell off. And as I mentioned, if the stocks sell off, well, that may just give Bitcoin that chance to rally. All right, guys, until next time, take care, be legendary, and peace